Please.
Hey, Jared. I was wondering if you could just give a picture into the mentality of the team. Obviously, having lost back-to-back games, down two of your best players. What has been the discussion in the last week among the guys on the team about how to kind of turn this thing around and play without AD and Dennis?
Well, even with AD and Dennis in our 6-game winning streak, I mean, we definitely were struggling. I mean, we were getting down double figures. We were getting behind and just had that firepower to come back. So for us, it's the slow starts have hurt us versus Miami. We can't keep giving these teams 35, 36-point quarters. I think it's when it comes to our two guys being down, less is more in a sense of, yes, we want to be aggressive. You don't have to do more. But we're not asking anyone to do more, when it comes to role players, we're just asking you to do your job. And sometimes it might be someone like Kuz who's playing phenomenal. The energy is giving us is unmatched to anybody on the team. It's, we don't care if you shoot 10 shots or 20 shots. We just need all 20 to be good. Our margin for error is a lot smaller offensively. We're struggling. The ball has to move and it has to pop from side to side. Our offensive spacing has been very poor. That's why you see the turnovers and the bad shot selection because we're not getting the top flow. And then defensively, getting, our coverage. It's not just one person making 5 or 6 mistakes. It's 7, 8 people making 1 or 2 mistakes, and it builds up. So for us, it's, just live in the moment, control what you can control, and star in your role.
Dan?
Hey, Jared. Obviously, the offseason was what it was. The playoffs feel like they are an eternity away. Just kind of where's the fatigue level at? Not even physically, just mentally right now. And how much of a grind is it with like the every other day scheduling and all that stuff? And I don't know, how different is it than a normal NBA season?
I would say first thing first, I would say guys are definitely excited that All-Star break is coming up. I wouldn't be lying to you. I would be lying if I didn't say that. Guys are definitely looking forward to that. I think the difference is this, is if you talk to other players around the league, with no fans, is probably the weirdest arena to play in right now is Staples. Staples has that aura and that energy, and I've heard multiple people talk to us. That's why you see we play much better on the road because let's just be honest, if you're going to Memphis, you're going to some of these different stadiums that don't have large crowds anyway and stuff like that. But for Staples, when you walk in, it's a certain energy. It's like MSG. MSG might be number 1, Staples number 2. So for us, it's been at home, getting that energy to come out, and that's what we've struggled at home. On the road, I thought we've been phenomenal, to be honest with you. And then when it comes to fatigue level, I just think, hey, listen, anytime you win a championship, you get a short off season. I think all you guys here, including myself, you expected us to go through a stretch like this where you knew AD or either Braun was going to miss some games. Guys like Taylor and new guys are going to have to take on bigger roles, and there's going to be times when during the schedule you're going to struggle. We've struggled for that. We still have the number 1 defense offensively. We know we're more than capable. Very similar. I take this as kind of like when we first got to the bubble. And we had those 8 games going into the bubble and how we just looked terrible and how it is we're trying to find ourselves, our identity. Dennis was trying to find himself coming through defensively without JaVale and Dwight. Having that, how do we counter that with us being more tight and more on a string? And that's something that we have to figure out the second part of the season.
Bill?
Jared, I was wondering if you could weigh in on LeBron's MVP candidacy this year. And do you think this upcoming stretch or the stretch you're in the middle of without AD is ultimately going to help or hurt his candidacy?
I think, that's a good question. A great question. I just think that, for one, it's phenomenal for someone that many games to basically have the most energy on the team. I mean, I could hear the music behind me, him lifting weights beforehand, getting 3 hours before and stretching and coming out and leading this team. But no, for sure, yes, these 2 weeks are crucial. I think it might even be 3 without AD because of the MVP, because you got to be able to win. You got to stay at the top. But, people know how valuable it is to our team, what he does for that, especially without Dennis. We only have, 2 ball handlers, and he's the primary ball handler. And you see when AD has struggled at times, he's been there, that one constant core build that had that. And so I expect AD to come back healthy and dominate. But right now, this is a little bit different, though. We have to be able to help him, especially without Dennis out, because now you're asking full capabilities of everyone having to be able to do just a tiny bit more, not a lot more, but be smarter. But no, it's going to go down to the wire, man, because you're going to have Philly's going to go on their different stretch. You know, the thing about LeBron compared to all these different players, he plays every game. That matters. It matters to voters. It matters to how it goes. And so if we're still up there in the top 1, 2, or 3 seed, we're always going to have a chance to win the MVP.
Dave?
Jared, being the defending champs, I wonder how much you guys have paid attention to the other contenders that are out there. Every season we go into it, and there's certain teams that we kind of expect to be there. Then there's some teams that may be more surprising, particularly Utah. What do you view what the Jazz are doing with you guys playing them later on this week?
If any player ever tells you they don't look at other teams, they be lying to you. Okay, that's the first thing. We look at everybody. You respect everyone. And so Utah kind of reminds me of that year that Atlanta had. Remember Atlanta, how, I think they, won close to almost, 55, 57 games. And
60,
60, right? Yeah, 60 games. I would say the difference is they got a little more star power. Donovan Mitchell played, to be able to break down defense. Atlanta didn't have that. Rudy Gobert, the way he protects the paint, Atlanta didn't have that. I think Boban, I think they're the one team they kept everyone back, right? Their chemistry level of all starters coming back. They added Favors. Favors is basically a Utah guy as it is. How many years was he there? So they didn't lose anything. Guys got a little bit better. They've been a little bit more healthier. And they're a force to be reckoned. You saw the way they play with the Clippers, and you see how they are. And so I would be shocked, though, if they don't hit a little skid here where, when it comes to games and people missing games and you lose 2 out of 3. And then that's really the biggest thing is how you deal with that adversity. That's what I've noticed so far about a championship team where I remember last year we lost 4 in a row. There was no panic in here. No one, the locker room's still loud as could be. Guys are still confident. So we definitely take a look at that. You got to take a look at Brooklyn and their 3 stars and what they've played and the way Joel Embiid and Doc Rivers out there in Philly. You definitely take a look at that and how Embiid's getting the ball 75% of the time. And there's no other player like Embiid in that low post getting doubles and getting fouled to the free throw line. So, and you still have the Clippers and you still have Denver here. So it's definitely going to be a handful. Everyone knows here in LA, it's always hard to repeat, but I think guys are up to the job, and hopefully after this little break, we'll get our second wind.
All right, we're good there, Jared. Thank you.
Good.